It is springtime, and so for many people, that means it is job hunting season. So, what we are going to do is we are going to talk about questions that you should ask during an interview. And before we really get into it, I just want to remind you that an interview process is not just about you finding a job, it's about you finding a school that's a good fit. Because one of the worst things that can happen to you as a teacher is to be hired or to be working in a school where your philosophies don't align with that of the school, or the school environment just isn't a healthy place for you. So I really want you to keep in mind that when you're having an interview, it's not a one-way conversation, right? This is a two-way street. You are evaluating the school as much as they are evaluating you. Do not be afraid to ask questions. Do not be afraid to ask for clarification if the answers aren't satisfactory, and take notes on their responses because it can make a huge difference. This video was kind of inspired by when I was sharing my I quit mid-year story, and a lot of the things about that environment that could have been avoided if I had just thought to ask even half of these questions in the interview process. Make sure that you ask these questions before you accept a position, just because otherwise you might be getting into a situation kind of like this one. I wouldn't recommend it. Hi, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ashley, aka Señorita Spanish. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure that you give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell so you get notified of all new content I create for you in the future. All right, so let's dig into this. I've divided these questions into categories. The three categories we're going to talk about are school environment, school policies, and materials and the support provided. Let's just get right into it. School environment. What is your enrollment like year over year, both as a population and in your language programs? What additional responsibilities and duties will you expect me to take on? What is the contractual day like for a teacher in your district? How many classes, duties, prep periods, all of that stuff? What does a day look like? What is the teacher retention rate in your school? Is there a class size limit? And if so, what is it? What system do you use for teacher evaluations? What data is used to determine teacher performance? Do you, administration, speak a language other than English? How do you evaluate teachers in a second language program, especially if you don't speak the language that they are teaching? What is the strongest characteristic of the World Language Department? What is a goal that you are having your teachers work towards right now? Or what is a goal your school is working towards right now? What is your personal philosophy on language learning as a member of the administration? What kind of student should take an upper level language course? Hint, any student. What do you do on campus to support new teachers? Do you offer opportunities for professional development? And if so, can you tell me a little bit about them? What would you say is the best part about working for this school? And what would you say is the most challenging thing about working at the school? How would you describe the school culture? Ask for a tour of the school if possible, because that will tell you a lot about the school environment. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about school policies, and these are things that all can obviously affect school environment, but they get a little bit more specific, so I wanted to put them in their own section. What is the school's policy on missing or late work? Is there a school-wide policy at all? What does the discipline plan and procedure look like? Is there a school-wide policy for retakes? What is the school policy on cell phone use? Maybe not applicable to elementary school, but middle and high school, you really want to know. Are teachers required to submit weekly lesson plans? And if so, what does that look like? Like, what are the expectations for what those look like? What resources are available for struggling students? How are those students identified and how are they served? And then let's talk about the materials and support provided to you, because a big part of how successful you are going to be at that school is how much support you have, both from administration and from the materials available, and as a member of a department, if you are a member of a department. What's the students' access to technology like? So one-to-one, shared laptops, carts. If it's shared, ask them, how do you get access to the carts and how often or how frequently they are checked out? Like, are you gonna have to arm wrestle in order to get a laptop? What technology would my room be equipped with for instruction? Will I have a classroom at all? Will I have a classroom this year? And if so, will I consistently have a classroom, or is it just a one-year thing? How many traveling teachers do you have in a school? Is there a curriculum available, or will I need to create all materials and resources for my students? How many different preps will I be expected to teach, and how much time will I have to prepare each day? Is there a department? And if so, how do they currently collaborate, and what common planning time is in place for that? There you have it. That's the whole list that I've got for you. Really keep in mind that you are evaluating them as much as they are evaluating you. Some of those questions are kind of red flag questions depending on how they answer. Like, if they say, oh, only certain students belong in upper level language classes, or at least in my opinion, Maybe that doesn't align with your teaching philosophy, but in my opinion, language is for everyone. So if they're like, ooh, yeah, no, you're right, some students don't belong in upper level classes, like, no. So just things like that, that you really want to listen and evaluate their responses to the questions that you're asking, and just consider whether or not that's something that you can shrug off or if it's going to break your time at the school. There you have it. Thanks so much for watching. If there's anything that you would add to the list, make sure you drop a comment below. If there's anything that you're like, that really doesn't matter to me, also let me know. I'm really curious to hear what's something that you think like we have to find out in the interview process, and what's something that you're like, that does not matter, or that does not belong in an interview. Comment and let me know your thoughts. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, click subscribe, and ring that bell so you get notified of all videos I create in the future. I'm working on a series of videos related to interviews. The next video coming up in this series is going to be on red flags to look out for while you are in an interview, so keep an eye out for that. All right, I'll see you in the next one.